Welcome! Hello. It's Lindsay, and we are here for launch strategy tonight. I'm so excited. You all grab your pens and paper and get ready to get rocked because this will probably, hopefully, blow your mind. We are going to be content rich, and I am really excited because this is one of the most profound pieces, I think, of this course in terms of information that you might not know already. So let's take a moment. And I would just say we've got 3 people signed on as guests. Next week you will find that the password is different. So guests, I would highly recommend that you all get social. Please sign in and go to the upper right hand corner of the Ustream and create an account for yourself. Awesome, we've got everybody in. Perfect. And keep an eye out on your emails because it will be new access information for next week. So before we start, without any further ado, let's close our eyes for a moment and just take a deep breath. Oh. I love the idea of beginner's mind. I love beginner's mind. In yoga, they talk about it often, and I don't know enough about yoga to really speak about it clearly, but I will say that what it brings up for me is like, you don't have to know the right answers. You don't have to do everything on your own. You don't have to be self-reliant. And from this place, it's really quite easy to make incredible leaps forward in your businesses. So if you'll just breathe into whatever your deepest desire is. You're here and made this investment of time and of money for something really important. So let's not let you forget what it is that you came here for. And just really be in that space. And see if you can have that deep desire fill your entire body. You'll be amazed, even from doing an exercise like this, the changes that can happen. Okay. So, if you are frustrated, as I know some people are, it's appropriate. It's that time in the process. So the homework should feel difficult. The changes should feel sort of midstream. I think I said in the email today, it's very much like when you're on a diet and you hit a plateau and you're like, oh, I'm never going to lose the weight. But we all know about plateaus. And so then you go, oh, it's a plateau. I'll be losing more weight. So in the same way, if you are there, you are at the plateau, and that is exactly where you should be, and things are going to really change soon. So a lot of what we've been doing has been investigating things, figuring out things, and I love the tenacity that you all have been showing. Michelle, I love how hard you've been working on coming up with your 3-word thing. I've been seeing some amazing results from some folks. Oh, and one thing, I just want to make sure I don't forget to say this, because this one I think is sort of important. So anyway, one of your fellow students discovered a loophole in something I've done, and so I want you all to see transparency in action and also have a chance to take advantage of it. So my sales manager program, where some people are having a lot of happiness and success, involves a bonus of getting this class. And so I will not out who the brilliant person was who said, well, what if I'm in the class already? Can I just pay the price difference and have both? And it was like, well, why not? So thank your class member, but you all, rather than paying $1,000 for my sales manager program, if you want to, are welcome to take advantage of this loophole. And if you are listening to the recording, I'll put this up in the forum as well. But you can just pay the difference between the two things and get 4 sessions with me. So during that time, you can say, Lindsay, here's my homework from the class. Do it yourself. But I have folks who were doing things like saving them $50,000 in a session, or really figuring out launch products and that sort of thing. So if you need a little bit of extra help, feel free to take advantage of either one of those links. It normally would have been $1,000 for you, and now it's half price. And there's even a payment plan, so go for it if you want to. I'm getting close to my wedding and I'm just like, sure, what the heck? Soon I may be like right before my wedding giving away I don't know what, but why not? Why not? There are big things in life a brewing. So launch strategy. So now you've started to collect all this information and frustration and movement forward. If it hasn't happened yet, the movement forward is just around the corner. And what you're starting to see is why you're in the business that you're in. Hopefully you've started to make the phone calls to people about what they've loved about working with you and haven't loved working with you, because that is worth the price of admission to this class alone. You will find out such profound stuff. I cannot stress it enough. And what I will say is that for the folks that I've talked to who've done it, if you've not recorded it, please do, because there are things that you will not absorb on your own. Preconference.com is what I use. I'm sure I have affiliate links to all these things, but I just don't even think of using them. So record it. Give them a conference call number. You can even, if you want to, as I do the homework along with you, I'm using a program called Setster.com where you can give a link to people so they can schedule the appointments with you, so you don't even have to go through the back and forth of like, is this time okay? Is that time okay? So get on the horn with folks. Start finding out what they love, what they don't love, and what they need from you. And you're going to be able to put together the pieces very clearly of what the next package is for you to offer. And I would also suggest that once you've got this, or even, you know, here's the deal. This is not about perfection. This is so not about perfection. It is a day and age that is not about perfection. You can screw up left and right, and you can also then change it. You can delete your posts on Facebook. There's a lot of ability for things to be flexible with you. So you can be still not finding your target market on Facebook and put a post up that says, I'm thinking of doing something at this pricing, would a 3-pay help? And you'll get feedback from people. And also what you're doing, which you may not have realized yet, is that actually is launch strategy. So what is launch strategy broken down for the simple explanation? First off, remember when iPod, that's wrong, the 4G iPhone was left in a bar. It was news like a month and a half ago, and everyone was like, oh, there's a prototype of the 4G. We're so excited. That's launch strategy. I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but leaving something out that would create so much buzz that would make everyone want it is what launch strategy is. The very final piece of any sale is the handover of a credit card, and then here's whatever you purchased with a credit card. The sale starts when you're at home in your pajamas and you're looking online and you're like, wow, I'd really love that washer and dryer. That's the moment that the sale starts. And so that's where we're going to start working on your sales from. Now there are a couple, not even a couple, there are a slew of different launch strategy philosophies out there. What I'm going to give you are some basic ones, the ones that have worked for me and how I've put them together and how they work for my clients. And they're imperfect also. You may go, well, but I really like and that's okay also. But these things will definitively get you sales, which is what you came to the class for, which is the entire point of the class. So to explain this even further, here's the deal. If I just throw up here a link to a washer and dryer and say buy it, that is the complete absence of a launch strategy. Also, you would not buy it. So the launch strategy is everything that takes place from the first date to the point when they get engaged, if you will not be sick of the marriage analogies. So we're going to talk about how you do that, and here we go. First off, dun, da, 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 I have serious notes in here. Oh, isn't that interesting? I printed the wrong week. I love that. Okay, hold on a second. Now you get to see total transparency. So launch strategy, as I look this up on my computer and have my lovely fiance print it for us, is first off, you start out with what it is that you are wanting to sell. And this comes from having had an idea with people about what they're wanting to buy from you and being in touch with them and having a really clear idea that it will sell. So you do not proceed to a launch strategy until you have absolutely, positively gotten information from people and also gotten people into a sales funnel with you that is one that is going to create sales. Isn't this interesting? Hold on just a moment. I apologize. It's like the biggest snafu I've ever had in the course. So I'm going to make the analogy quickly of what you're looking at in terms of a sales funnel, because this is the easiest way for me to describe it. So if you think of a funnel that's larger at the top and then gets smaller at the bottom, the small part at the bottom is where the transaction with the credit card actually happens. But the sales funnel at the top is where you've got to start to get everyone. So when we look at things like email marketing and what your conversion rate is and how many people are opening it and stuff, that's all really the hope that you're going to be able to get them in the funnel that eventually will get them out through the bottom. So what we need to think about is once you have gotten clear on what will sell and you've had 5 phone conversations and you've realized that everyone who talks about jewelry talks about men, and then you realize, oh, what I really need to do is launch something that's about how to be more desirable to your mate, and that comes out in the package of a jewelry line. At that point, once you've had all those conversations and you know those kinds of things, then you want to do what we call the pre-launch. Pre-launch is when I don't tell you at all what I'm doing. There is an iPhone 3G that's out there. I've never even mentioned that there's a 4G, but I perhaps put a post up that goes, oh my gosh, I have amazing news and I've been sworn to secrecy, so I can't tell you. But 2 weeks from now, I can totally tell you. That's a pre-launch. Anything that gets people's mouths watering, that makes them want what you've got, is the beginning of a launch strategy. And so you definitively, at this point, particularly as you're getting ready to think about doing your Ustream shows, want to start saying to people, oh my goodness, I have been on the phone with so many of you and it has blown my mind. I think I have something up my sleeve that's going to knock your socks off. So if you saw that on someone's wall, wouldn't you be like, oh my gosh, what's that? It just absolutely activates people to be interested. And if the people that you found are the people in your target market, then absolutely are they going to be wanting what you've got, because it's something ultimately that they'll purchase. Part of a launch strategy also looks like this. You have to be co-creative. You've got to be in partnership with people. It doesn't work anymore as a sales model to go, here, buy this. It doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It works to go, hi, I have one of these and I really enjoy it. And then somebody goes, Lindsay, what is that on your suit jacket? And you go, oh my goodness, it's a Post-it. And they go, oh wow, tell me about the Post-it. And you go, it's the most amazing. Okay, so then you see, you've gotten me from the funnel starting to go into it. This is also a place where people go, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to. This is a great place for you not to be salesy, and it also is absolutely the start of the sale. The largest mistake I see entrepreneurs consistently making is not having a launch strategy. If you do not have a launch strategy, you will not have sales, most likely. And if you create the idea in your mind on your own about you're going to do this great new thing with this Post-it and blah, 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 and you've not talked to anyone about whether they want Post-its or not, you can have the most extensive launch strategy and it will not pan out. So you also do not want to do that. So we've started with the pre-launch and then we move into the launch. We are, and I can talk economy forever, and there are like a multitude of points I can go off on the other ones, and on some of these, just jump on the magic carpet with me, if you will. So it's generally accepted that in this economy, in this day and age, as entrepreneurs presently are, that we offer something for nothing. It's the way that we get people on a squeeze page. We squeeze their email address out of them by having something. You get your free report about 5 blah blah blah. If you don't have an opt-in form on your website, you definitively want to do that. Even if you're offering product, it can be the 5 best tips for cleaning jewelry with things you have in your cabinets. It can be whatever you want, but you must start collecting email addresses. That giveaway of that information is the beginning of moving into a launch strategy. And there are a few different things that you can do, and you want to do a few different things. So you want to say to people after the, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about things. So say, for instance, that I know that I'm going to sell chocolate Intamin donuts. That's my thing. That's what's going to be happening a couple of weeks from now. That's my launch strategy. So I say I have something that is cooking in my oven that smells so good. But I swore to my best friend I wouldn't tell anybody about it for 2 weeks. So hang in there. You're going to get a multitude of posts. You're creating buzz. That's pre-launch. So then the next thing that I do is, and it's really working backwards. So that's what you really, that's a key piece of this also. You don't want to create these steps based on air. You need to know what it is you're selling first in order to create the appropriate launch strategy. So you go, okay, so what are things that people who might buy donuts also buy? So maybe I'm going to send out a free report on how giving yourself what you really want actually will cause you to live longer. And so I can put a post up on social media that says, would you like to know how many years longer you'll live if you put pleasure in your life? And one of the great things that I see working lately is throw your email address on the post. So don't just ask them to raise their hand there on the page, particularly if it's about a weakness. So for instance, we have someone in our class who's going to do a Ustream show on people who have survived. I don't know actually, and so correct me if you want to in the chat, but it's regarding grief and cancer. So you might not want to say in your Facebook post, have you had someone die from cancer? Because it might be really hard for people to say yes. Typically only the people who have survived it and gotten through it will say yes. And your target market is still in grief, so they might not be able to say yes. But if you say, if you are struggling with the loss of someone from cancer or someone who's going through cancer, and you would like some tips on how to make it through that, please email me at blah blah blah, and I'd be happy to send them to you. That's a kind of post that I've started to use lately, and I get more responses than you can imagine. And those are the real responses, because A, you've gotten their email address, so you can ask them if you can add them to your email list for your newsletter, which is awesome. And B, they've really clearly raised their hands, and they may just not be the people who want to raise their hands on your page. And so you want to figure out, like, what's my giveaway? Now, it can be the same thing that's on your opt-in page, or it can be something new. Another great one that's a little bit further down the line is, instead of doing one for Ustream show, do two. And the first one, just give away all your information. The amount of information that you all learned from me, if you participated in any of my classes prior coming to this class, was not just me saying, like, I'm going to show you how to do this, and then I'll tell you how to do this, and then I'll tell you how to do this. Like, do you struggle with Facebook? I'll help you. No, I was like, so if you struggle with Facebook and you're having a hard time putting up posts, it may be that you're hiding. Do you hide in your business? Like, I'm giving away juicy information that has value. That's how people start to get a little further down in the funnel. It's just what works these days. There are a multitude of other things that work, but it is the easiest, fastest way to get to big sales now. So at the moment, I would totally suggest it. So you want to create something that's based on what your folks have said. So if you've called everyone, for instance, Debbie, who's in our class, and Debbie, if you didn't want me to use this, I'll use it a little, thinking maybe, so say for instance, Debbie had people who said that their pain was around acne, which it was, that's not what Debbie told me. But you would then go, okay, so the people who are going to buy from me, if I've realized like acne is really the problem, and I'm going to sell them something at the end of this where for a certain amount of money it will solve their acne, then perhaps what I'll do at the beginning is I'll send out a report that's like the 5 biggest myths about acne. And so you could even start it off and say, do you think that French fries give you acne? You're wrong. That and 4 more myths that I've beat if you email me at blah blah blah. So if somebody will let me know if this part is clear, this is the first part after your pre-launch. You can just type yes in the little window. I'm realizing I should have dialed into our conference call also. It's a banner day with technology for me. So I still don't see, oh good. Let me see a yes if I can. Just want to make sure that it's clear to everyone.
Acknowledge this and agree to be recorded. Only organizers can be heard.
Okay,
Participants
awesome,
may
good.
unmute themselves.
So then the next
To
thing we're
unmute
going
your
to
phone,
do, hold on
press
just one
star
second.
6. There are 0 other callers present. You will hear music
The
until
next
the
thing that
second
we're
party
going to want to
arrives.
do is provide more value in a different form for people. Because I may have acne and I may not really care about French fries. Or I may love chocolate donuts, but it may be totally not about pleasure. So what you want to do also is think about, so what's the second set of pain that my audience said? Because you'll probably find people who will say, I don't want acne when I go out on dates, or I'm over 60 and I have acne. And so what you're going to want to do is send a second set of information, and it could be, you know, a web show. It could be something more substantial. You don't want to consistently do the free reports, but you want to start providing information that is specifically, oh my goodness, I apologize. You want to provide specific information that is going to capture part of your target market. And this is a great place also if you're not certain who your target market is. Like for instance, Michelle, you've talked about people wanting love, and you've talked about people who want leadership. So if you were still torn on that, then part of the information you could provide would be about like 5 tips to get love now. Horrible idea, don't use that, but you see what I mean. The other thing you could do is you could start to do a week of posts that talk about do you love leading? What's your favorite story about leading? Would you like to learn more about leadership? And then after you've taken them a little bit down the sales funnel, and this is a little bit more sophisticated, but this is really important. After you've brought them a little bit more down the sales funnel, then you want to help them down the sales funnel. So perhaps, Michelle, they, yes, I'm a leader, and they don't really realize the thing is that they haven't opened their hearts and they need love in their lives also. So once you've gotten them and they're raising their hands and they're on board and they're saying, oh, yes, I'm a leader, oh, yes, I learn about leading also, then maybe at that point you want to introduce the idea to them. So from all my fierce leaders out there, how many of you are in relationships? And do you see that what starts to happen then is you're starting to get different types of people through that sales funnel. And the key part of this also is that it's really intentional. It's not like today I wake up and I go, wow, I don't know, I'll post something about like the Lakers and love or something. But what you really want to do from your phone calls is, and the deal is if you put this on paper, it's going to be much, much easier. And the mid part of any launch, and I find that this is really potent, is you are going to find out stuff that you never even knew. You're going to have interviewed people, you're going to have gotten in touch with your target market, you're going to have your product all set in your mind, and then somebody's going to put a post on your wall and they're going to say something like, oh yeah, so-and-so just launched a project that's about leadership and love and it's great. And you're going to go, oh my gosh, I don't really want to launch the same product that somebody else is. Not that that's a reason not to launch a product if you're thinking the same thing, but you may go, wow, that doesn't work. Or someone's going to say to you, I love what you're talking about love and leadership. However, what I find is the really difficult thing in all of this, quite frankly, when I look at it, is my relationship with my kids. And then all of a sudden you're going to go, holy smokes, like I am really meant to be here to talk to people about their relationship with their children, and I didn't even realize that. And so yes, they are leaders, and yes, they don't have love in their life, but that's actually symptomatic of the fact that they're not able to have really solid, intimate relationships with the people that are close to them, And I've always, you know, had a difficult relationship with my parents, and I can't wait to teach people about being involved with kids. So you need to allow for flexibility in the middle. Thinking that you know any of this and are completely sold on like exactly how you're going to do it is crazy. I do not see launch strategies that work that way. If you create a product in a vacuum, you're going to be sitting in that vacuum at the end of your launch holding your product. So you need to engage with your audience, and you need to get reconfirmation that the path that you're going down is the right one. Now, at no point during any of this do we say, buy my stuff. Most likely you have other stuff that you're selling at the same time. So I'm not saying all of a sudden we start talking about like your parakeet, or we only talk about your passion and we don't make it clear to people that you sell things. You are welcome to throw posts in there from time to time that say, I'm getting ready for a new web show and I'm so freaking nervous. Brilliant to put that post. But also here's the thing. Don't think that that is launch strategy. It's a great way to endear people to you, but you're not actually selling them anything. They're not buying the Ustream show, so unless you're charging, which you could also have, you know, your product can be like a purchased Ustream show. There are a multitude of options here in terms of how you package things. But what's really important is that you remain flexible in the middle of it, and you've got to stay true to what your passion is. So if everyone starts talking about like having bad relationships with their dogs and you're like, this does not resonate with me whatsoever, then know also that here we are midway in the sales funnel. What you've got to really be able to do is go, okay, who's in my funnel? Some of them are never going to buy from me, and that's okay. And maybe I need to do something on dogs and kids for my next launch, but I'm not doing it for this one. But if something really strikes you and you don't listen to it at this point during the launch, I promise you it won't work. I promise you it won't work. Because here's what's happening. It's like a movie, a movie where people are sitting outside, like a Saturday Night Live in New York. If you wait for tickets, you can wait like 2 days in lawn chairs, sleep on the sidewalk, get going. If everyone in the line for Saturday Night Live starts talking about the new Star Wars movie that's coming out, and then they decide to go see Star Wars, they decide not to wait for Saturday Night Live, you've lost a slew of people. So you really need to be responsive to what's cooking with people. And once they've raised their hand and they've said, I'm interested, I can't wait to see what's cooking in your oven, I can't wait to find out about pleasure. And then even like a follow-up post for my donut pleasure thing might be the next day, okay, so who's not interested in pleasure increasing their lifetime, but just loves really good donuts? Ha ha ha. You're going to pique a whole new slew of interest. Now, you don't say donuts. You don't then start talking donuts. You can drop that word once, but it's very much, and I use these analogies, but they do work. It's very much like dating. You don't pop out with, it's so nice to meet you, will you marry me? You may pop out with, oh, it's so nice to see you, I'm going to my brother's wedding next week and I'm so excited. Like that may pique the same interest, but do you understand what I'm talking about here? And I'd love some more yeses if you got them. I want to make sure that it's really clear. I'm gonna guess that you're gonna say yes, and I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. So, awesome. Once you've gotten to this point in the launch strategy, I'm gonna give you a really solid sales tip that I don't normally give during this class, but this is one of the key things. If I know anything about sales, honestly, I think it's the number one thing that gets sales through whatever you're doing. You've got to start a target market list. It's got to be something you have with you every day. It's either up on your computer all day, every day. It's in your pocket all day, every day. And you get really clear on who are the possible people that are actually going to purchase this from me. If you do not do this step, you will not have sales. There are a lot of people out there selling stuff that don't sell a thing. A lot of people out there doing launches and nothing ever gets sold. A lot of people who decide to do a big, huge teleclass and they sell one. And then they are stuck, you know, for like $5 an hour doing a teleclass from now to Timbuktu because one person purchased. That's not what you're in this class for. So you write a list, a concrete list of the people that you think will buy, the people that you think have enough money to buy, because that's also, and this is a huge one. It's like when you start dating someone, you go, he said he was going to his brother's wedding. I know he wants to get married. And then you go on the second date and he's like, oh my gosh, my brother's wedding. I'm never getting married. I'm so glad I decided that already. And then you're like crestfallen. You're like, oh my gosh, no. So yes, Debbie, it is specific names. You need names. Because you don't sell 100 people something with no idea who those 100 people are. It just does not happen. If you're a big company and you've got millions of people already buying from you, then yeah, you can pretty much assume that the next round people are going to continue to buy. But when you're at the beginning, it needs to be specific. And let me be clear, because I see the comments. No, it needs to say Lindsay Wilson on it. I think Lindsay Wilson will buy this. She has the pain in my target market. She has the money to purchase it. And then you'll see a post on Lindsay Wilson's page that goes, I just bought the best donut making anything, anywhere, and I'm going to Tahiti for the rest of my life. Goodbye, Facebook. And so you have to go. It's no problem, Susan. It's one of those things that people, it's like people can't wrap their mind around this part. And if you can't do this, you're just not going to make sales. It just doesn't happen. You've got to put also the people on there that are your wished for sales. You've got to think big. You've got to think, okay, I don't just want Lindsay Wilson. I want Michelle Obama. It's probably good if you have some way to be in touch with them. So maybe it's someone in the middle, you know? Like Christine Whitman. I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of that's like, she's up for California governor. Maybe she'd answer an email or something. So it's specific names. And if you need to sell 50 of your product, you need to have, honestly, and I'm not going to overwhelm you, I mean start, because 20 people about kills everybody the first time they do it. But the second thing is that you can absolutely, positively, as you sell more and think more, if you want to sell 100, you need to have like 250 on that list to just get started. A lot of times, and it's a great question, Tracy, a lot of times before you even figure out what you're going to sell, you just write down who your target market is. Who are the people I know around me who could buy, who resonate with me, and figure out the product later. You've got to look at the resources you have before you expect people to pay. You are wrong if you think you're going to dream up something in your head and you're going to put together a sales letter and you're going to do whatever everybody else does and you're going to get sales. It doesn't work. There are a million people that I can get to tell you that that doesn't work. So after you've created your target market list, not only with the people that you concretely think will purchase, but additionally the people that you think you'd like to have, you start reaching out to them. You start talking to them on Facebook, you start talking to them on Twitter, you ask them for an informational interview. It's a wonderful way to start to get sales going. And inevitably what will happen, just to make this learning portion brief because it's off of launch strategy, is they won't buy. And other people that you completely did not expect will. However, without a plan and without putting those names down on a piece of paper, the universe doesn't get that you're serious. You don't take the actions that you need to in order to actually make sales. You don't get in there and call me on the phone and go, Lindsay, would you do an informational interview with me about donuts? I just was wondering if you were interested in donuts or not. And I go, sure, I'd love to talk to you about donuts. And then in the middle of our conversation, I say, and I'm not eating wheat. And then you hear from 3 other people they're not eating wheat. And you go, oh my gosh, my intimate donut thing is brilliant. And I got a lot of people on that pleasure thing. And I am midway down my sales funnel. And half those people are not going to buy it unless I've got a wheat-free option. And so then you go, oh, I'll also do a wheat-free option. That's great. And then I fly off to Timbuktu. But then 10 other people who are identical to me, who are all my friends on Facebook, who you've connected with because you're building your target market, all say, fabulous! We're so psyched. We've never seen wheat-free Entenmann's chocolate donuts before. We're buying it and we're telling our friends. So target market list, if you don't do a target market list and you are planning on selling something, I just don't see it work. I've never seen it work. I have to be honest. I think that's actually true. I've never seen it work. I'm sure it works for some people, but without an established business where you're just looking at building on the sales you've already had, it doesn't work. So next, in the launch strategy, you've given them some information, you've given them some teasers, you've built up their appetite, You've got them in the line, or at least they're down the block from Saturday Night Live, and they see this big, huge line, and they go, what's going on here? And they're asking. That's the place where you want to have them by this point. So I'm going to jump to the end of what launch strategy looks like, and then we're going to fill in the middle. The end looks like you being on your Ustream show and you making an offer. Here's what's key about making an offer, and here's a key about sales. And I just have to say it's amazing to me. And let me know, if you all will let me know if you need more actual sales ability and sales theory and sales strategy. I'm surprised lately because I've been in sales for so long. I assume that people know some things. So if that's information that you need more of, let me know and I will arrange to get that to you. So, but one thing I will say is that when you make the actual offer, because I know that some of you are getting close to having your Ustream shows, etc., what you need to be doing is coming from a place of service. You've heard these people, they are in pain. They want pleasure and they need gluten-free donuts. They have someone who has cancer in their life and they're really struggling. They need more joy in their life and they don't know how to get it. And so when you make the offer, here are two things. First of all, love when Lisa Sasevich says we're going to take a halftime break. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can work with me if you want to. And here it is. And she'll run down what her offer is. Because if you're doing a web show, you get people before they've signed off. They'll stay for about 30 minutes if they like. And then what you additionally want to do is at the end, again, say to them, so if you're interested in knowing more, there's only so much I can put in an hour. If you'd like me to help you, I would love that. And it is about transparency. It's about being in touch with that passion. If nothing else, you can touch down deep into that passion and you can go, you know what? I hate sales. I'm afraid I'm going to seem salesy. And these people need me. And this is what I'm meant to be doing. And so you just reach down into the part of you. I will tell you, I am like the last person in the world to sell. I hated selling. I don't need to go into the long story. You can like see it on other shows. But I couldn't stand selling. And I have to tell you, interestingly, on my own stuff, I have to like use all of the techniques I use that I teach you all to get myself to do my own sales. It's like pulling hair. It's like pulling nose hairs. It's awful. And so what I have to do is I have to go, you know what? I need to help them. They need help. They don't know this. I'm doing a disservice to them if I have like all my toys in the universe and I'm keeping them to myself. It doesn't work. So it's not about sales. It's not like buy this stuff. But it's about if you all want to know more, if you all want to work with me, and even if you all want to solve your pain, if you need more pleasure in your life. I am so excited to provide gluten-free chocolate Entenmann donuts. Just be authentic. And that gives them an opportunity to purchase also. So that's the end of the launch thing. And then we'll go back and we'll talk about the piece in the middle. And I love it, Francine. The step-by-step instructions for the video show, I need to post some of those. So I've struck out tonight. I apologize that I've had 3 things off. But I will tell you that what's happened by not having my paperwork, by having the phone malfunction, and by having the instructions not up, I'm so freaking committed to giving you all content that it's not even funny. So if you all say that you want more sales stuff, I'll throw in a bonus class about sales just so you can get it. So where do we go in the middle of the launch strategy? So you figured out who's going to buy, you figured out what they're going to buy, and so here's the part where you're like, okay, I know exactly what I'm selling, and I know exactly when I'm selling it, and what is it that I do in the middle here. And there are a few different things. So you've got your target market list, and that's where you really want to focus. And this doesn't necessarily mean being on social media every day, all day. And we've gotten to the point where Lindsay takes off her jacket. My Lord. I'm going to teach a class in winter, and you all are going to love it. I'm going to be like in sweaters. So here's the deal. You need to get on the phone with those people. You need to ask for the support of those people. You need to send out Facebook messages to one person at a time. Do not send it in a bundle. It ends up being very spammy because all 9 people that you emailed will email back and all 9 people get it, and it's not good etiquette. So you just copy and paste and you say, I'm doing this upcoming show on how to, somebody else give me an idea of what they're doing in terms of their show. Because I keep using the same ideas, and an idea about donuts actually doesn't really help anyone. Business etiquette, love it. Okay, so Sherry, what are you selling about business etiquette? Awesome, I love it. While Sherry answers, I'm going to do some other things. So Angela, how to hire a web designer, fabulous. So you can, at this point, because your target market has said to you, I'm in pain, I don't know how to hire a web designer, this is great. You should be making the connection with them already. You need to be on their web page, and you need to be, on their Facebook page or on Twitter, and you need to be saying, I'm so sorry about the loss of your dog. That's absolutely hilarious. You need to be very social during that time. You need to be very, very, very much connecting with all of those folks. And then from that place, what you do is that you've started to befriend them, you started to form a relationship with them, send them something and say, I would love it if you could post on your wall. You can even do this. I'm in a social media class and my teacher said I have to do this, and I'm so uncomfortable doing this, I could throw up. But my teacher says I'm supposed to ask 10 people to post this on their walls. And I really like you. Would you consider posting it? If you get someone who is that involved in the process of anything that you're doing, they are so close to buying it, it's not even funny. If you do informational interviews, and this might be part of what we go over in the sales thing, because you really need to be on the phone with people asking them what they would buy from you. You need to run your ideas. So if your show's how to hire a web designer, you better be on the phone with 5 people finding out if that's juicy for them. Because you must have your finger on the pulse of your target market in order to sell them anything. Otherwise, it's like you might as well be like in a room with no gravity and like throwing things. It's never going to work. So why do you think like they do, like if you can go in for like the new diet soda taste testing, like target market research, I think that's probably what they call it. They'll pay you $25 to come drink diet soda all afternoon. That's because they're doing the process that we're talking about here. So you ask them to post on their wall about your upcoming class. You need to create a group of people, and this is what's brilliant about social media. It's not like I just need to sell you this Post-it. Mainly what I need you for, I need you to take this Post-it and go show it to your friends. Because you can buy one of these Post-its. If you've got 1,000 friends on Facebook, you've just given 1,000 people the opportunity to buy this on Facebook. So you've got to work with the exponentiality, how's that for a big social media word, of social media. If you tweet it, at the end you want to put please RT, which means retweet, so that people know to click retweet. And that's how you start to get traction. That's absolutely how things start to flow. Specifically in this class, and this was not intentional, but the way that it has worked out is if you all are doing web shows and you all are posting the web shows for each other, do you know that you're going from like, altogether we've got about 50,000 people that we are all personally connected to in social media. Wouldn't you like an audience of 50,000 potential people? So this is the point when your partnership with other people who are here is key. You also might want to consider affiliate relationships. If you've not looked into that, do that. You could even, if you want to think really big, do JV relationships. That's fine also. But what you really want to do is start to get the information out to as many people as possible with as many people as possible stamp of approval on it. It's very different if I post on my wall, look at my new Post-it I'm selling, than if you all go, oh my gosh, Lindsay Wilson has the coolest new Post-it in the world. Because then this is what you're always looking at with sales, is that there's an automatic wall that goes up and people go, oh no, she's going to try to sell me. I will not buy. I will not buy. And the moment that they see that thing, that's the being too salesy thing that you are all afraid of. So the way around that is if someone else is saying how great you are, I don't think there's any wall that's going up, because actually no one else is going to say. It's just using the power of people and using the power of connections. I love it. So people are asking what JV relationships are. Okay, so we'll cover that in the sales class too. That's awesome. Love you all. That's not, it just means two people partnering together. So all of a sudden, Beth, it might be about accounting, and Tracy, it might be about joy. So all of a sudden, it's the joy of accounting. And what the deal is it's like Tracy is friends with all of these coaches, and I'm sure they need accounting. And Beth has a lot of people who perhaps need more joy in their life. They're doing their accounting, but they're not really happy. And so the two of you together decide to do a show together. And you decide on some sort of numerical split, and you decide on what you're going to price your product at, and you work together. And honestly, as you grow bigger, it gets harder to do that in some ways, because there's a lot more that's going. But yeah, so that's a JV. So once you've asked your friends to post it on their walls, what you want to start doing is providing really provocative information that really strikes people at an emotional place. So this is the time for, if a post went up about, I just had a client and it was so hard to see her having survived the loss of her daughter to cancer. Now here's the deal. You can, the voice in the back of my head goes, Lindsay, you don't use something like that to sell. But here's the thing, and this is what we all really need to realize more than anything else. Like, this may be the best learning piece of the evening, that none of this has anything to do with money. What I'm actually teaching you is how to make your business succeed. Then when your business succeeds, you can get the information out to more people, etc. So if someone is going to teach how to make it through grief, how many people do you think need grief help? Loads of people. So if you're speaking from a heartfelt place that really connects with people in your post, that is on topic about what you're going to be selling, then you've got people that are, not just halfway down that sales funnel, but they're most of the way down. Because you've got people in their house that are going, wow, I lost my daughter also. I'm having such a hard time. This woman is helping people. I'm paying attention to what she's saying. She's doing a web show next week about the 5 most effective ways to console and support myself. I'm there. Because I get that she delivers the kinds of goods that I need. So it's not the time for posts about your puppies. It is not the time for posts about popsicles. It is not, and I will tell you, I have a really difficult time when I am in launch mode not posting other stuff, because it becomes this really prolific time when I'm spending time on Facebook and Twitter, when I'm in touch with my target market. I've got a lot going on. It's a very creative time. I promise you, you're going to feel like posting 3 times that day, and it's going to be about something that's entirely different than what you mean, and do not do it. Because people need really clear information from you in order to be able to attach to you, in order to be able to remember to come to your Facebook event that gets you to the Ustream show, to actually get the credit card out. It's got to be like an emotional rope from your belly to their belly. That bond has got to be that close. So you won't want to put only things like that, because that might get a little bit too hard. So if we went on the cancer thing also, then the next day you might want to put, I am amazed at the amount of joy that I'm able to create with clients. They are so resilient. I think that people, when they've gone through great pain, can also have a capacity for huge joy. It's so, you know, put a hopeful post up there. It's so amazing to see how that happens. So that you're not only touching the pain of what people are coming to you for, but you're touching the results. And that week prior to doing your actual, they can buy it, they need to not only feel their pain and be warmed up in that way, but they also need to see that you're really able to deliver. Okay, back to Sherry. It's a comp show, informational, and it's dropping a hint about your own chocolate donut idea. Okay, so Sherry, here's the thing. Explain to me what the donut is, though, because if the show is not about the donut, the business etiquette show, then it won't work. And we really want it to work. We really want it to work. So during that week, the other thing that you really want to be doing is you want to be seeing what kind of impact you're having with your target market. So if you put the first post up about the client with the child who was lost from cancer, you'll get a lot of people who will respond. It won't be actually your target market most likely, because they're not really able or ready to say, okay, me too, I need that. Occasionally you will find that, and that's brilliant. I mean, those people like get on the phone with them. Then when you talk about the results stuff, you're also going to be catching people's eyes. But what you really need to do here, and this is what's really key, is that this is strategic. This is not by accident. It's like somebody who wants to get pregnant and it's not easy for them. They're not just like trying to get pregnant every day. They're taking their temperature, they're doing all the stuff that's necessary because it's a plan. So this is what we're doing. We're doing sales with a plan. So check and see if your target market is responding. If not, then you throw up a post up and you say, how is everyone today? Or, and don't make it off topic though. Don't make it about like baseball. Don't make it about some other anything. Make it about the connection between you and them. I'd love to hear about the biggest victory you've had this week. People love to talk about that. Or what's the thing you're proudest of in your life? Brilliant post. Use that at any time when you're not getting interaction. And Tracy, I see your questions and I love them, and I will tell you that we are staying focused on the questions that are with the exact topic of the moment, and then the other questions, the Q&A, I will answer them like crazy. But we really want to make sure that you're not missing any of the information that's in here tonight. And you can I mean, this is, take imperfect action is key. So like you don't have to get people who are responding to your post right now to be able to absorb how to do the perfect launch. You have to trust me on it, but it's true. So you want to get interaction happening. Now here's some other things that are important in terms of launch strategy that you've just got to check off your list. If you don't have enough friends in your target market yet, and someone else in this class has your target market, ask them to do a trade. Say, I will invite all of my friends to be your friend, if you will invite all of your friends to be my friend. There's an easy code I can give you all. You can ask for it in the forum. You just put it in the browser bar, you click one thing, it invites everyone. You don't actually have to sit there and click all 389 friends. But you've got to get your numbers up. Coca-Cola would not be a huge company if it did not have a huge amount of people to sell to. And if you think about all the people who are not buying Coca-Cola, I bet there are more people not buying Coca-Cola than there are buying Coca-Cola. So all of this is very much about having your structures in place. So if by chance you haven't been able to get your target market together yet, that's okay. This learning can be applied 2 weeks from now also. It doesn't have to be applied today. So I am going to take a moment and see if there are any specific questions about launch strategy that I've talked about, just to make sure that it's clear to you all, because then you slide into home base. You've got your target market talking about you, you've got people that are posting it on everyone's walls, you've got the numbers for your show, and then we slide into actually doing the show, where you do the halftime, you do the end time. But do you see that this is not about the hand me your credit card. There's never that moment. There's never that moment. When Paul asked me to marry him, it wasn't like it came from outer space and we'd not been thinking about that and looking at that and it was like out of the freaking blue. Every piece that had happened had led up to it. So that's what a sale is. It's all of those pieces that lead up to it. The last piece should be anticlimactic. It's built on, it's like, what was I watching lately where they were talking about something is like, what's the big thing that killed the Titanic? An iceberg. The actual payment and the thing happening is just the teeny tiny top of the iceberg. The sale and the launch is all the stuff underneath that we've talked about. So, Debbie, how long is the pre-launch and launch taking place before the show? A couple of things. Absolutely at least a couple of weeks, and that's if you've got target market in place and you've had your informational interviews and you're clear that what you're going to sell is what they're going to buy. So you need to have all of those pieces in place. Gina, welcome. If you have a target market list and they're not Facebook friends, do you invite them to be friends even though they don't know me, or cold call them first? Invite them, invite them, invite them. Invite them, invite them, invite them. Invite them. Any other questions, or I'm going to grab one of Tracy's. Tracy, you're not getting responses on your posts. I can tell you 10 reasons why. Here, Lindsay will do a plug for herself. Are you ready for this? So the deal is buy the sales manager package. And I'll write your freaking posts for you. No. So the deal is that if you're not getting traction on your posts, there's a problem. And there's something that's wrong with your posts. And I love that someone said that they'll look at the posts and tell them what's wrong. They will, and they'll know. Anybody in this class, you know enough to tell somebody else what's wrong with their posts. So I would absolutely, positively, without a doubt, start talking to each other. If you're struggling with things and things aren't working, ask your mastermind partner. If you don't have a mastermind partner, get a mastermind partner. Okay, there's the original link, actually. I mean, it's like for $168, you can start having private sessions with me where I'll do anything you want me to do that's about sales. If you want me to call people on the phone, if you want me to write the script for your show, if you want me to figure out what your product is, if you want me, honestly, if you want me to give you some of your target market, I'll do that too. I can get you a couple hundred of your target market people in an hour easily connected to you. Oh, Debbie, that's sweet. So any other questions about launch strategy? Because I know that it's big. And I know that it's tricky. But that's a thought process. The dieting thing is just the way that, I'm getting ready for my wedding. But like, I can't start dieting one day before the wedding and expect it to work. And selling something, like just out of the blue selling it, you all know you would never buy it. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. I will say that the web series that I did before most of you joined the show, it was not launch strategy on my part. However, it fits into that. That would have been brilliant launch strategy if that had been the case. Because you got to experience me for like 10 days. You got so much free content. And I would not suggest for most people that you do a web series to promote anything that you've got on hand. But if you start to understand, and if you start to look at things, and if you start to go, oh my gosh, that's launch strategy. So the deal is that what you must have prior to selling anything is a line of people waiting to get into Saturday Night Live. If you've done that, you have a proper launch. And then the energy that's created from that, what's key about it is that the buzz and the excitement that's around all of that is contagious. So in a social media world, what you do on your show is you say, if you like the show, post on my wall. Or if you like the show, post something about me on your wall and tag it. And you can have a free 15-minute consultation, which is also what most people would call like a pre-sale conversation. You want to have a 15-minute conversation with anyone you can who might buy from you. That's not giving people away. That gives you an opportunity to close a sale. And then the other key thing, and we will be talking more about this next week, is follow-up. But what you must know is that when you say, okay, so this is for sale, here are my donuts. This is my great idea that I'm unveiling. It's vegan, gluten-free, awesome, Entenmann's, yummy, better than the white flour donuts. You're not done. You have to follow up. You need to be in touch with the people on your target market list. You need to be in touch with the people who listen to your show. You don't just go, oh, okay, you won't marry me? Okay. I guess I'll never call that person again. I guess that's over. You don't give up. And so it's really key for you all to know that at that point, first off, you probably don't want to start the show that you're selling them the next day. You probably want to give yourself a week or two. And the other thing that most people don't get is that there are a slew of people out there who are thinking of buying from you. They just have a question, or they're not quite sure, or they haven't been fully convinced, or their friend told them that maybe you wore the color brown the whole time and they don't really like brown. And so you use that time to be in touch with people to see how they liked it. Just call them and ask them how they liked it. Don't call them and try to sell them anything. How did you like what did you think of the, brilliant. And that's where the sales come in. That's where the sales come in. How many people have been proposed to who didn't say yes but then eventually married the person? How many people said I had to think about it? There are a lot. How many people go to the car dealership, find the car they love the very first time out and don't buy the car but still buy the car later? A lot. So you've got to connect with people and you've got to be in touch with people, and it can all be from a place of, I've done over 20,000 follow-up calls and no one's ever told me not to call back. I don't think I've ever done a follow-up call where I've been like, buy the car! I've just been like, how's your dog? People feel so loved. That's what they want to hear. Then they say nice things about me. Follow-up's beautiful. Follow-up's brilliant. So good for your business, and we'll be talking about it more. So, what else do I want to say? I think that's it. We're about 4 minutes over. I hope that this made sense. We'll do something on sales. So here's the thing. Watch this. Right on my wall, can we find what my Facebook wall is? What your questions are about sales. And then we will, from that place, create something so that I can help you all with sales. Here we go. And if you're interested in the Sales Manager package, check out the link, and the payments start at $168. It's a 3-pay. But I do find people who are having good results with that, because anywhere where you're blocked, it is sort of like having a teacher do your homework. I can zoom that through for you. And I will tell you that the Sales Manager program is sort of like a beta program that I'd launched and is going to soon be a much more expensive product. So if it's appealing at all to you, certainly let me know, because I don't know how long I'm going to offer it for. I should have thought of that, but like till the wedding, and then I'm done. Then I've got to change my program, or else my team will kick me. They'll be like, you're doing all this stuff and telling all these people everything and you're not practicing it. So anyway, that's all I got. I hope that Launch Strategy was helpful. I hope it made light bulbs go off. I hope it gave you more homework, because it doesn't work if you don't do these pieces. And the other piece is that the moment that you start doing these pieces, you're golden, because then you'll know to do it every single time, and it becomes a delight. Like, this is the path on how you make massive sales. Any other path that you thought and you've not been making massive sales, that's exactly what the disconnect has been, that you haven't been doing a path like this. So that's it. I hate getting off the phone with you all, but I will go now exercise, which is always something I need to do. So okay, let me know what your sales questions are and we will tackle that also. I apologize to the people on the phone. I apologize for the whatever, but I'm glad that you guys got good content tonight, and I look forward to hearing you about, I can't talk because I'm reading the chat. I look forward to hearing what you need more in terms of sales so I can deliver that also. Okay, thanks. Have a great night.